It feels really weird to say this, but for the first time in the better part of 40 years, I have a new Atari.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
So this is kind of a bucket list thing for me more than anything else. I already have one of those re-released controllers for my emulation setup. I have the gamepad and the joystick for playing Atari games. So what in the world do I need a box that plays cartridges for? It's kind of a bucket list thing because my first ever console was the ill-fated 7800, and now here's the 7800 Plus. So we've come full circle, except now there's an ESRB. Stuff like that. It wasn't a thing 35 plus years ago. Backward compatible with the greatest decade ever, Atari. Woo! Get your pixel fix like it's 1986. Wow, it rhymes. Some other languages. At long last, the Atari 7800 Plus has joined the ranks of such timeless design icons as shoulder pads, crop tops, and aviator sunglasses. Play any one of our new cartridge releases or insert your original Atari 7800 and 2600 games and rock some classic gameplay. So, we got some stuff right here, things like that. Power cable for USB, HDMI, and Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest. I remember Bentley Bear from Crystal Castles. It was kind of like an Atari answer to Mario. CX78 Plus wireless gamepad, I already have one of those, so now I can do two-player. Alright, so the first thing that's notably different compared to the original release or pretty much any console I ever had, this is small. This is like an extra long shoebox in terms of the size. I knew it was smaller, but I didn't know they had packed it this much smaller. So let's see what we have to play with here. The Atari Plus platform. And of course, this is smaller. The 7800 Plus is smaller than the original. It's like the 7800 version of the NES Classic. Let's see here. Alright, it's got some weight to it. But, let's see, the buttons, they do feel like the 7800 buttons. I just hope I don't wear them out like I did the 7800 buttons. Of course, now I'm not a 6-year-old that'll hit reset the minute I lose a life in Donkey Kong. But, let's see. There we got that. Where are all the ports in the back? Now, I like this design better than the 2600 Plus's design because it's a bit more standardized, which is what Atari in general was doing back in the 80s versus the wood grain thing. So over here we have power. It runs off a USB-C, and that's probably a way to hook up for firmware updates as well, I think. There was something they were working on for that. Widescreen or regular screen switch. I'll probably use 4.3 for many of these games. And an HDMI, proof that this is not the unit from the 80s. So what do we have in the front? We have our difficulty switches in the front, similar to on the original, as well as two Atari ports. But there's dongles with the wireless controllers that will plug into them, so we can actually run them like that. Alright, and of course this will be a fingerprint magnet. I wonder if there'll be like shipping plastic that'll peel off of this, but we're not going to play with that anytime soon. So the red Atari box in the other half of the Atari's box had basically everything else. The Bentley Bear game, the controller, which probably has the accessories underneath it, some C to A cables for charging the box and the controller, and a full-size instruction manual for Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest, which is similar to the 7800 manuals I remember, but it's in color. A lot of the 7800 games that I had black and white manuals as a cost-cutting measure, as the 7800 just wasn't playing ball with the NES at the time. This hails back to the days when you wanted to read the instruction manual in order to play a game, because it would tell you the backstory and everything else that would, controls and all the other stuff that you get from a tutorial nowadays. So it's just the sort of thing that you did back then. And well, let's see. First new Atari cartridge. It's a little sleeve thing here. First new Atari cartridge since I was a little kid. Here we go. Yeah, the plastic might be thinner than I remember it, but nice new connector. Nice new connector, I think. Can I push down on the things in the middle? No, I don't know. Never did understand what those are for. But yay, Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest. At least it has color graphics, though. Most of my games were black and white. Well, the ones I had from when the console was still being competitive were in color, like Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong Jr. The Dig Dug I got as my final Atari 7800 game, though, is in black and white. Let's see, it goes in. Wow, it's making noises like a Game Genie when I put in the cartridge. Now that's tight. Tighter than the original. Listen to that. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's making noises like a Game Genie putting the cartridge in. Either that or it's just been that long I forgot what a brand new Atari sounded like. Ugh, I just don't remember. I just don't remember the original Atari doing that. Alright, the controller, let me see. We got the gamepad here. There is a little screw-in joystick, which is what this thing is, but I don't really like them, so I just store them somewhere. You just screw it in if you want the joystick feel, but it's not an analog. The problem is it's not an analog stick, it's a digital control. So you're bound to have, like, you're gonna hit something that you don't want to hit at some point. So I basically just take this thing off and I use it basically like an NES controller, even though it's not really an NES controller. These buttons are too far spaced apart for it. Does this thing have any charge from the factory? Looks like it does. I'm not going to use it though because I have my PC controller all good to go for that sort of thing. So we have a pair of dongles. This is the one, yeah, that's the one with the Atari plug, and then the other one has USB for hooking up to a computer. So just plug this in. We'll plug this into our number one here, and then we'll find a way to hook this up to some power. I might just run it off the computer's USB for now. It's a 5-volt 1-amp device, so it's not very big when it comes to power draw. So it probably would run off the USB ports on a power strip pretty easily. We'll just charge the controller until we'll just charge the controller anyways. But there's a white pairing light, and then there's a charge light, which will turn green when it's 100%. I charged the other one, though, so we could just use that. I think the big challenge I'm going to have is finding a way to pair it to the Atari and not just pair it back up to the computer. I might have to shut the computer off. This bothers me, though. Boing. The original Atari didn't have this much play in the controller, or in the cartridge slot. So I'm concerned about that. I'm curious if the cartridge slot will eventually break in and not require you to muscle the cartridges in there like that. Because it really did sound like a Game Genie. And I'll tell you, putting a Nintendo cartridge into a Game Genie bothered me back in the day. So never mind now. But anyways, let's get this dongle working. Alright, let's fire this thing up. As predicted, it took a couple of tries to get the controller paired to the Atari and not to the computer, because the computer's still going. But I got this thing running off of the USB. Just turn it right on. Don't have to mash the buttons. We'll see how far it gets that way. Oh, look, an Atari boot screen. I hope a future firmware update brings back the rainbow Atari logo that we knew back in the day. That would be awesome. Loading game. Yep, this thing is an emulator box. I don't know what emulators it's running, but I guess it can get firmware updates and some other stuff. So we're not going to have any sound because this is a monitor and not a TV. So the HDMI audio, I don't know if this Samsung monitor has a headphone jack or not. But I don't think it has any way of handling sound. But here we go, Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest. Start and continue. And let's play this one-handed here. Start. Level 1, round 1, ready. The controls, I just did some goofing around. First, he's a little on the green side. The limitations of the old thing here. But I'm trying to play this game one-handed. So you got an energy bar. Oh, jeez. It is kind of like it does kind of remind me of somewhere between Super Mario Brothers and Adventure Island. Definitely reminds you of an Adventure Island game. The controls, unfortunately, are Mario controls, so I'm wondering if I can get a 2.4 gigahertz Nintendo controller and play this with the Nintendo controllers when I don't want to be stretching the hell out of my thumb to play this like a Nintendo game, because it has run and jump controls. Oh, not bad for playing it with one hand, but I guess the energy bar doubles as a timer. Yeah, that's what reminds me. That's the part of this that reminds me of Adventure Island. So I'll just bring in Bentley Bear instead of Mr. Higgins or Dr. Higgins or whatever the heck his name was. Professor Higgins? I forgot what it was. Some Hudson Soft thing. I just think it was like Higgins something or another. He says, "Oh no," and bye when he dies. Game over. Well, there's no sound in there anyways. I do want to check one thing, though, before I go hooking this up to the TV. The real TV. There's supposed to be a secret diagnostic menu. I think it's you hold down select and reset when you turn the thing on with no cartridge. But first, let's see. It's looking for the controller. The dongle is anyways. Atari! Alright, what happens if you start it with nothing? No game detected. So instead of failed to load game, it said no game detected. It's like an old Discman with no disc. So down here in the corner, we have 7800 Plus and the firmware version. So I think there's some hidden upgrade menu. Let me see. Put the camera down for a second. Hold down the select and reset buttons while turning it on. See what it does. How long do I have to do this? Supposedly there's a secret nerd menu for doing updates and stuff. How do I do it, though, unless I repair the controller? Alright, can I let go of this thing? Alright. Now it's not even getting video signal. It's looking for the stuff on analog. Alright, let's try it now. Alright, so you released it. Let's see what it does. Analog. HDMI. Alright, let me look up what that was. There was some secret menu for updating the firmware. I just forgot what it was already.
Epic.
Have you played Atari today? Well, now I have. Let's see. We're gonna try it with the joystick too. So let's see what we got here. Other than controllers and batteries going all over the place. Loading. What's that big thing in the corner? Oh, it's the game. Load times with an Atari. Oh boy, this will take some getting used to. Sounds kind of like Banjo-Kazooie, except if you know what that music was inspired by, you'll know this one's called the Teddy Bear's Picnic, and it's public domain. Alright, let's give this a shot. 4-3 mode this time. Yeah, this controller, man. Trying to... Alright, take this stupid joystick thing off. It's a gamepad. I expect it to feel like a D-pad. Listen to that super simple music. One of the things that held back the Atari 7800 was it had to use for the backward compatibility. Oh. Bye! He says he jumps off the screen. One of the things that, unfortunately... Get into this here. One of the things that held back the 7800 was it had to use the same sound chip as the 2600. So that's what the sound issues came from with this. But yeah, this is kind of like Bentley Bear meets Adventure Island, like with the energy thing that doesn't hardly work. You still have one-hit kills, even though you have an energy bar. Okay. At least I'll let you continue. So I looked up... Pause. It just stops the game. So I did look up what the update thing was. Different than the 2600 Plus, you have to hook the thing up to the computer like it is right now and start it with the reset button, but there's a whole like updater thing that does everything for you. I was kind of mixing things up here. I thought I saw a menu for like advanced graphics or something that could turn on things like CRT filters and the like. Tell ya, I gotta get a 2.4 gigahertz NES controller or use a Sega Genesis controller plugged directly into the thing for this. something where something where I'm not using the 7800's way too spaced apart buttons. I feel sorry for anybody in the EU that had to put up with this when their friends had Nintendo. It's still better than the horrendously stiff joystick that came with the 7800, though. Honey! Oh, cool, it gives you more energy. That time he swore. Well, it's my first time ever playing this game, so it's cool that it does. It's cool that it does play like a Sega Master System game, at least. I can tell the resolution's different, and I can tell that the music capabilities aren't as refined, but this is some classical music too thing, isn't it? Half the thing that's gimping me right now are how spaced apart these 7800 buttons are. I'm basically having to really stretch my thumb in order to just hit the darn buttons. I seriously should just, yeah. Actually, there's one of my Famiclone controllers has Super Nintendo buttons. Oh, here we go. I actually beat a stage. Woo! Maybe I should stream this. Round cleared. Good job. Just throw some more whatever these are at the angry trees. Yeah, well, I do have a Famiclone I think it was the Retro I think it was the Retro Trios controller that had a Genesis-style plug, but Super Nintendo buttons. If those map out correctly on here, okay, we're done. If those mapped out on there, that would work out pretty darn well. But, yeah, this is cool. And it's nice and petite. It fits on the desk. I could just put it off to the side when I was done with it and use the HDMI switcher on it and stuff like that. But, yeah. Have you played Atari today? Yes, I have. I have some games on order from East Starland. 2600, some 7800. I'm going to clean those out with deoxit spray when they apply. And basically, yeah, we'll see how those work. But here we are. Whatever games I can find. It's just, this game has been retro for so long. That Atari's been retro so long that you basically have to get lucky to find decent cartridges anywhere. But hey, I'll just play some Bentley Bear for now. I'll do some more videos and get the tech videos going again. But this is one heck of an intermission, isn't it? It's like a song that came out in 1930. I just forgot what it was. But I know it was called The Teddy Bear's Picnic, and that's why this game can use it as background music. Unfortunately, yeah, you lose your progress when you turn the thing off. I'm sure this is probably already available on emulators, but screw it, I want to play the real deal. I didn't buy the 7800 in order to emulate the hell out of everything. Although the games I had as a kid are extremely hard to find now, unless I buy like some lot from Facebook Marketplace or eBay or something. Ah! It's got a little bit of Ninja Gaiden thing going on though, where you'll get hit somewhere and then you'll run into something that kills you. Is that the end of the stage? I should stream this. Alright, enough. Have you played Atari today? Yes, I have. And with a slightly better controller than those horrendously bad joysticks. Well, that was fun. Gaming has come full circle for me. I started with the 7800 and now here I am with a 7800 Plus. My first new Atari in the better part of 40 years. Man, I feel old. Just more of the I'm old jokes, or material for them anyways. Who should collect this? Anybody who collects physical Atari games. There are wonderful emulation opportunities available, and now, thanks to these hardware re-releases and stuff, there's also controllers that are basically going to feel the same as what the people with the real hardware are using nowadays. So, I think it's awesome what Atari Interactive did here. It's just definitely retro, definitely nostalgia, and it's definitely a step up from whatever the heck that thing they called the VCS was supposed to be, or those Atari flashbacks that wouldn't take cartridges. Look, the brand is what it is these days, specifically because people held on to this stuff, or they search for it, or they're curious about it, or they're trying to find it again, or whatever. It's about as retro as it gets. So, kudos to Atari. I hope they keep this up. And I hope they make more homebrews into officially purchasable cartridges that support the people that program these games. Because, why not? You know, the hardware's out there, and they could be put in like the Reimagined series and released as a DLC for Atari 50 or something. So, yeah, gaming has come full circle for me. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.